Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 120. I can't believe it's already episode 120. I was actually going to say something else and then I had to look it up real quick. So it is episode 120. Obviously, I'm doing this one by myself. And, I had said previously that, well, I said it in the comments, right? Because I guess, you know, I was told that, to do this more like about reading, doing a reading, right? So I'm going to do a reading at the end for anyone that wants to stick around for that. But this one was gonna be another course correction, as Mariska called it, right? I like that term, course correction. So this is another story about a course correction situation that I had, right? Because I think that's what my last video was about, the course correction, right? Um, so there's gonna be like course correction number two and things that I felt because of the Lionsgate, right? Or that I'm guessing that's what it was, right? But I had some interesting situations happen. Um, I mentioned how in the last video about the Lionsgate thing that wow, real quick, I do have other interviews coming up. It's just, right now I'm in the process of scheduling them and all this and that. So just in case, you're looking forward to seeing me interview people, that's gonna be coming up soon. I already have the one scheduled with Jane on the 23rd, I believe, and then, there's some other ones coming up. So just FYI. So, like I said, with the 888 thing, that night I had this very strange dream. And like I was saying about how not taking things with you, right? And so it was personal, but it was interesting because it was like I saw it in real time. It was like there was almost like this snake attached on my back, and I saw it like before my eyes. It was weird because it was like it was me, but for some, I don't know if I was able to see it or how, how it happens, right? Like it's almost like having an out of body experience within the spirit world. So it's really strange when that happens. Like last night, I had a dream within a dream. I woke up in the dream and I was like, oh man. And then after to realize even that was a dream, right? It's always crazy when that happens, right? It reminds me like of the movie Inception when they wake up and then there's another layer to the whole thing, right? So, anyways, on the 8-8 Lionsgate that night, it was like I was saying about not taking things with you, and it was like the snake was almost like leeching off of me, right? Off my energy. And it was like I saw it as it was little and growing vroom, until it just died off and it fell off. And I was like, what the hell? And I, basically threw it off me. And it was almost like that, like it wasn't allowed to pass, right? So I don't know what this was, It was really strange. It was a little creepy, right? But the fact that it was like it wasn't allowed to come through, right? I felt like spiritually it was about a vibration, right? Like because I have closed a lot of doors now, you know what I mean? I'm really not interested in reliving a lot of things or lessons, right? So for me, those things get closed, and I continue to close things that don't vibe with me, right? Like I'm way too in this life experience, right? Like it's something we learn, right? We allow things a lot of times, and people think because you allow things that gives them permission to continue doing them. You know what I mean? And it's really interesting, like this whole life experience, right? And having to deal with people, right? Because that's one of the main things I've experienced, right? In my life, it's never really been about me being different. It's been more about people that you deal with, right? And then you adjust to deal with certain people. So even when, there was a time in my life when everybody like that, like people would say that I was the angriest person they knew and this and that, and I was just this ball of anger, like, and people didn't realize that it was them that made me that way because now I'm like everyone looks at me the opposite, right? Like no one could imagine me in a negative way usually, right? Um, and so when they're like, "What, really?" It doesn't make sense to them because what happened is I removed myself from all these toxic people in this light, right? And that's what I had to learn. I had to learn that it's like cool, you know what I mean? Even if I have to walk this path alone. So that's what that reminded me of. I don't know what, like if it was just a specific energy or different energies, but it was interesting. It was like, like I said, it's creepy. But hey, I had seen the bats already. I knew there was something going on. I don't know. It was just weird, right? And then the day after that, I woke up with this. I don't know if it was the day after or 2 days after, but I woke up with this. I didn't wake up with it. It hit me like after I woke up, and it hit me, and I've had this. Like I've only felt that heartache with certain things. I knew it wasn't mine. I was like, oh man, what happened? Something happened. Or I was trying to like, is that mine? Did it have to do with this Lionsgate? Did I kill some part that isn't coming along with me? And it's mourning, right? Like almost like a death and rebirth, and yourself is mourning a part of you that wasn't allowed to come through anymore. It's really interesting, right? I hope I'm making sense because there's just a lot of layers to it. The only times I remember feeling that was like once I felt this like almost like your heart's bleeding. That's why it's weird. It's like this intense heartache, right? Like, oh man, what happened? Once I remember I was feeling that, and then boom, I turned on the news and there had been a shooting. Like I don't know how many people had got shot in Texas, and so for some reason, uh yeah, I felt that energy, right? I don't know if it was because it was, like I think the guy was targeting like Mexican people or stuff like that. For some reason, the energy came back to me, right? And I felt it. And it was one of those like Walmart shootings or something. And I felt that. I was like, what? That makes sense. And then boom, once I figured it out, it went away. Another time was I had this sadness the whole day, and finally there was someone that I guess I had connected with. And so I messaged them, hey, are you sad? Like for some reason, I just threw the text out like, hey, are you sad? After the whole day of feeling this. And then they said well, I guess, I guess one of their, family members was in the hospital, life or death. That's what they said. So I was like, oh wow, like that's amazing. Was I really feeling this person's energy? So it's been times like that. So that's how bad it felt. I'm sure I felt it when my brother passed away on a personal level, but when you feel it that you don't even know where exactly it's coming from. So just the fact that it happened on this line. There was one thing after when I had already felt that energy later on that day, I found out that there had been like I think so. I don't know if someone said a plane crash in Brazil or something that like 60 people passed away, were killed. I don't know if it was Brazil. Let me look it up real quick. I think, and then I think, well, I did come out Brazil plane crash. Oh yeah, on August 9th. So what day? Oh yeah, the day after the Lionsgate. So yeah, um, with 58 passengers and 4 crew members on board crash. So I think that's at least 61 dead after passenger plane crashes in Brazil. So I think that's what I was feeling. So maybe I was just real sensitive around that time because after they told me that, then it made sense. You know what I mean? So all the people affected by that, like imagine like what I felt on, just when my brother passed. So feeling all that energy, tapping into that from like 61 people's family members from someone. So it was just like that. I was like, I used to be real sensitive to that. And I think I had been blocked for a while. And now that I'm reconnecting with everything again, I think I was open to that again because of this whole, Lionsgate and letting things fade away that no longer have to are no longer coming with me. And it was funny because the last video I did, I talked about the throat chakra and everything, right? And so to me, automatically, I always go to the blue jay, right? Because the blue jay, um, it's blue for the throat chakra, and it has to do obviously a lot of things, like even its little raspy voice and everything. And so, sure enough, I went on a hike the very next day, and boom, the first thing I find is a blue jay feather, right? Right away. So I was like, oh, that's so funny. There's even this amazing story. Let me tell you what it's called. It's called, oh, I don't know. I pulled it up somewhere, but it's called man, I wish The Little Brown Jay, A Tale from India. So it's about like this, I don't know if she's a princess or what, a girl, and I guess she's afraid to talk to this. I don't know if it's a prince or this guy that she's in love with or something because her voice sounds horrible. And it's funny, like in the story, they were, I guess because must be an old story. They're very like brutal, right? Oh, this girl had the ugliest voice or something, it says, right? And then the little brown jay's like, man, well, that's nothing. Like I trade you my voice for, I don't know what, if she just looked like or had a beautiful dress on or something, it was blue, something like that. So basically they made the trade-off, right? And then the blue jay didn't mind having the crazy voice, and she had the beautiful voice, and now the blue jay had the beautiful blue, right? So I love that story for some reason, right? It relates to me. Like, I'm probably just because I love the blue jay, right? Blue jay, watch, let me tell you real quick. So like I said, my throat chakra had been, if you saw the last video, right? Like the throat chakra had been acting up, and now it's kind of gone. I think it was just a little test I had to go through, right? Like, look, at blue jays are protective symbols that push you to be the best version of yourself. If your spirit guide or spirit animal is a blue jay, you'll see them more often, especially in times of need. In this sense, blue jays are a good omen. The spirit world has your back. So I don't know if that's also, it's funny that it says has your back, and then that thing fell off my back, like something I couldn't see, like some, little, creepy energy that, like that, something sneaky. It obviously makes me think of people doing sneaky things, right? And so, because the fact that it was right there like a snake, right? But it withered away and died. And I guess I have been making a lot of, not to say anybody I dealt with was a snake, right? But I'm just saying, like I feel very connected to the spirit world, right? So it also says intuition, spiritual aspiration, strength of character, loyalty, ability to defend loved ones, power of awareness, ability to adapt and imitate. Because I guess the blue jay imitates things. I don't know. Blue jay is also a powerful teacher that shows us how to sharpen our intuition to use our talents to their fullest potential. So that's one thing I felt, right? Like just to end that off, because I know it's real long about the blue jay, but to use my voice more. Like I said before, I was in the habit of deleting stuff and this and that. So with that blue jay energy stepping through that lion's gate, it really feels like, yeah, because even them with their raspy voice, they have no problem. Like, they're such communicative. They're birds that communicate a lot. They're very communicative, I believe is the word. They'll tell you, they warn each other, hey, there's someone here, boom, 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 boom. Like, they're very communicative with each other, right? I hope I'm saying the right word. So I love the blue jay. And if it's not afraid to use its voice, then, right, how can we be afraid to use our voice? So that's why I love the blue jay, and the fact that it showed up for me during this time. I've also been finding like the blue jay feather, and then the same day I found a crow feather, and then I found another crow feather again today. I went to this off path that I had never gone, and there was just one huge crow feather too, right? So, and I had forgotten. Put it like on my bike, and then it never fell off. I even put my bike on the back of my car, drove all the way home with all the wind, and the crow feather never fell off. So I was blown away. And crow is all about change, right? So it's funny about the change and all that stuff, right? I think when I had pulled the cards, like the dragonfly represents change as well. The hummingbird, I didn't, on the last one, when I pulled the card, the hummingbird came out, and I forgot that the hummingbird, um, flaps its wings in an 8 pattern. So I was like, hello, like I completely forgot the 888, right? I did that on 888, and the hummingbird came out, and the way it flaps its wings is in an 8 pattern, right? Like the infinity symbol, the 8 pattern. So I was like, wow, that's so funny that it came out on that day. So let me see, what else did I want to say about the blue jay? I think that's it. Obviously to me, right, like the spirit world talks in animals and this and that. So that's how it always communicates to me, right? It gives me like the whole picture, boom, with the animals. Okay, so before I do any card stuff, so I wanted to talk about another course correction experience that I had. I'll timestamp this because I know I went long on the Blue Jay story and my little experience with the 888 thing. But what do you call it? Okay, so real quick, the course correction story. So, one thing that I always went back and forth with was like the drinking, right? The drinking was a big thing for me. And I knew the spirit world, the heavens, God, they wanted me to stop drinking. It was very obvious. I think most of the times I got in trouble or I did anything stupid, right? For lack of a better word, just stupid, was because of the drink, right? When I wasn't, when I didn't have my wits about me, right? And there's no to anybody that if you want to drink, that's your thing. I'll never tell anybody what to do in that sense, right? It's your journey, your story, so you do what you feel is best, right? For me, it was clear, right? It was always something that happened with the drinking that I was like, man. Even one of my friends, when I was like still early 20s, he was like, yes, some people just shouldn't drink. He told me that straight out, you know what I mean? But it was funny because when we would work on music, he would come over with all these things and he'd be like, no, no, they're not for you, they're for me. And I'll be like, all right, cool, whatever, but I remember he was the first person, even young, that told me, yeah, some people just shouldn't drink. Cause I would always act a fool or something, right, with the drink. Um, so anyways, there was always this thing, right? And then what was kind of starting me off was, I got a few DUIs, right? After I got my second one was when I was like, okay, I can't drink no more. I even had to get that breathalyzer thing in my car. It was a headache, right? Just all the money you spend. Very depressing, very like just frustrating, right? So after that, I believe I didn't drink for like 3 years after my second DUI. After that, one day a friend like invites me somewhere, right? And it was interesting because I remember it was a full moon that day. And that morning I ran like, I think I ran like 7 miles in the hills. I was working out. I lifted weights for hours and hours. I did like 500 push-ups, 500 sit-ups. I was just boom try because I had this weird energy. There was just something, and I was just trying to calm the beast, but it wouldn't stop. Because that was the mess of thing. The more you worked out, the more energy I had, and that monster inside didn't want to calm down. I was even supposed to go out with this one girl I knew, and at the last minute, I guess her babysitter canceled, and then it was like, oh man. So a friend happened to invite me to go out. So I was like, okay, fine. I think I was just starting to drink again and I was doing the whole, oh, I have 3 drinks and then that's it, right? So I had done good, right? So every time I hear people say that, I'm like, oh man, I'll throw a little thing in there like, oh, well, it didn't work for me, but if it works for you, good. But I know that just doesn't work, right? So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll do my 3 drink thing. So I went with this friend and he invited me out. At first I had said no, but then after the girl canceled on me, I called him back. I was like, all right, fine. I'll go because I can't even stay at home because this beast is like making me lose my mind. And it was a full moon. I saw that after, right? In the night. I was like, oh wow, it's a full moon. That makes perfect sense, right? So, anyways, I went, everything was cool. I drank my first 2 drinks, like I said, okay, I do my 3 drinks, I'm good, right? It was barely my second time drinking again after 3 years, right? Falling off the wagon after 3 years. Uh, so all right, I feel okay. The spirit world hasn't punished me. I feel like I'm okay. I could drink. So after that, the third drink I go to get, and the bartender comes and he's like, "Oh, can I get something for you?" I was like, I'm gonna wait for that guy because he made the drink a little better, and he's, "Oh, what? Well, tip me better and I'll give you a stronger drink." I'm like, okay, cool. And I don't know if I was getting like Jack and Coke or one of those things, right? And so he fills up like, before it was like that much probably alcohol and then like that much soda, right? But this time he does like that much alcohol and that much soda because I guess I insulted him. So I just gave him like $3 tip or something, and then he made that whole super strong drink. So that was almost like if I would have had 5 drinks, right? Because that one was like three mixed drinks in the one, right? So after that, I didn't remember what happened. And I was just gone, right? I was pretty messed up. And I think my friend, we agreed to stay asleep right there in our cars to sleep it off. And then I just wake up, like I couldn't sleep. So I turn on my car, I just take off. And after that, I get lost. I think I'm going on the right freeway. Somehow I end up on the wrong freeway. I was way somewhere else. I don't even know where I was. I guess someone called the cops that I was swerving. When the cops pulled me over, They're like, hey, you know why we stopped you? Someone called that, you were swerving, and I was like, yeah, just take me. You know? They were like, oh. And just because I said that, they left my car because it was my third DUI. So that means my car should have been impounded for 30 days minimum, which would have been a lot of money. And, I don't think I would have even been able to pay it then. And so, the police station was right there. I didn't even remember when I had to look at the ticket, like, oh, where did they stop me? I was asking people in the street, hey, do you know where this is? Because I didn't remember where my car was, but they didn't impound it because I was just like, yeah, just take me. And they were like, oh, wow, like nobody's, I think, ever said that to them or something, right? Everyone wants to contest, like, oh, no, I'm not drunk or nothing, right? And so that was my third DUI, right? After that, like, I had already gotten a chance. You know, I was kind of being pushed to stop drinking. I backslid, right? It was like, I did it once. I was like, oh, nothing happened. Okay, let me do it again. After 3 years of not drinking, I did it again. Boom, I get my third DUI. After that, it was just a headache, right? It was a headache. Everything was just bad. I felt really depressed at that time. When I got that third DUI, I went to a dark space. I think that's even one of the times, I don't know, I guess, like, I don't know why. I just felt like a failure. That's even when one of those like divine intervention things happened. I think I was sitting, oh yeah, I had to be on house arrest because what happened was I had put in for supervisor at work. I even did my interview with like the big old like ankle monitor, and only one manager knew about it, or supervisor, and he didn't say nothing. But I went to do the interview and everything with the big old ankle monitor on and everything. Nobody knew, so that's why I was like, because everyone was like, "Wow, you could go to prison, like, or whatever jail, and you won't do all the time." But I had already put in for supervisor, so I was like, "What would my luck be that they tell me, okay, boom, your time's up to be a supervisor," and I happen to be in jail that time, right? Like during that time. So I was like, I got a lawyer, I paid, and then it was like 4 months versus if it would have been, I don't know, they said anywhere from 2, 3 weeks people were doing back then, because I don't know if the jails were full or what, but that's kind of what it was. It was because of the overcrowding, or I could have done the 4 months of of the house arrest. And I was like, well, I'll just pay for the house arrest, right? Because I didn't want to. I was already fed up with the job, and it was like, I don't want my opportunity to be a supervisor to leave me, so I'll just go ahead and pay. And that was just as brutal, right? The 4 months of house arrest because, but during that time, that is when I got promoted to supervisor. So I guess that's how it was meant to be, right? But anyways, so yeah, it was just I don't know, I felt like a loser though for some reason. It really affected me mentally. I just felt like a loser. And I remember I had got down on myself, and I think I mean, there's really no soft way of putting it. Like, I think I was thinking at one point of like taking my life because there had been just so many things in life, right? At that point, I was just like, it was just one thing after another, right? And and that's when in the hallway there's like this, that there was that thing of the footsteps, the footprints, right? um where they say like, oh, whatever, whether it's God, or I don't know if it's God or Jesus, but to me, I guess it was God, right? Where God's carrying the person, and it's like, oh, well, the footsteps is because that's when I was carrying you, right? So right at the moment that I'm deciding, like, okay, I'm gonna do this, uh I hear a loud crash, right? And it was tied with like this rope, and that's when the rope falls. I mean, it breaks, it snaps, like this big old rope that had never snapped before. Magically, as I'm thinking it in my head, it snaps, and the whole thing breaks. And I go and I see it, the footsteps, and I start crying, like, because I was like, "There's no way, this is impossible." So it was like at that exact moment that I thought, like, or I planned it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this." I think they knew that I was gonna do it. That I had decided, like, okay, like, I'm just tired. Like, I'm tired of messing up. I'm tired of, like, because at that point, I think there's just too many things in life that I felt that I had messed up, and I was just like, I was just over it, right? And when you get to that point, that's when people decide, right? Like, when you get, like, when you just, it's not even that there was no light at the end of the tunnel. It was just, I was tired already. I was like, damn, I'm tired of myself. Like I just can't get it right, right? So that's where I went into that place. And so that's probably another reason like they kept trying to make me stop drinking and stuff like that, right? So anyway, I know this is going way long, but I'll just finish it. It's fine, right? The little blue jay. I got my little blue jay feather with me, so I'm gonna keep singing my song. Right? So anyways, yeah. So anyways, after that, okay, boom, I made it through all that stuff. I had to have the breathalyzer thing for like I think 2 years on my car, all this, right? I finally made it through that whole storm, right? And boom, I was on my way again to stop drinking. So okay, again, no more drink, no more this, no more that. After that, there was this friend doing comedy, right? So I went to show him support. Uh, I took my other friend with me, and so we're there, right? And then after that, and it's cool. I wasn't my friend drank a beer, I didn't drink. I was like, nah, cool, drank soda, whatever, I think. After that, um, George Lopez ends up being there. And that was a very life changing. I won't talk about the George Lopez story because that's too long to add to all this. But, anyways, we end up going to a bar. And then after that, even that was funny, right? Because when we go to the bar after the comedy show, right, it's just me and my friend and then all like 5 comedians. So it was this awesome time. I walk in first to the bar. I'm like, hey, are you guys still open? And then they're like, oh, sorry, no. And then they see George Lopez coming in behind me and they're like, yeah, come on in. And I was like, wow, these, it's funny like how what celebrity gets you, right? And so we end up being there like from 10 in the night to like 2 in the morning. George Lopez was buying all the drinks. Um, so I was like, man, how could I not drink? Like, when am I gonna get to kick it with this guy? Right? I hadn't started acting yet. It wasn't even an idea, I don't think, right? I hadn't even thought about acting. So like here I am with him. He shares all this stuff. It related to my life. It was like very important to meet him, right? So, anyways, I drank on the way home. Right as I'm getting off the exit to go home, right? It's like boom, I made it home, right? Okay, well, no cop pulled me over. I drank quite a bit. We made it, right? Okay, so it's me and my friend that went with me. We get to the light off the freeway, and there's one car in front of us, right? And there's some police right there that have pulled someone over. So I'm like, oh wow, okay, the police they're there, but they pulled someone over, so we're in the clear. The car in front of me starts going, and out of nowhere, it just hits the brakes. Boom. And as I'm getting the speed, I'm like, I didn't have time to react, and I crashed right into the back of this car in front of me. I'm like, what the hell? And the guy's all, I'm like, what the hell's wrong? I got super mad, right? I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? Ooh. And then I'm like, well, just go right there to the gas station. Go, like, because I see the cop over there. So I'm like, hurry up before, in my head before this cop, it's like 2, 3 in the morning. By that time, maybe close to 3 in the morning. So we go to the gas station right around the corner. We stop there. And I think I'm thinking already, like, oh man, they're gonna put like, why did I drink? I had said I wasn't gonna drink. Like the spirit world's gonna like they punish me. Like, dude, my life is about to end. Because by that time, the fourth DUI for sure is like prison. I think you're supposed to do like a year in prison. It's a felony. All these things, right? Like all these things. So I'm like, man, my life is over now. Um, so I'm like, hurry up, boom, boom. We go right to the gas station. We exchange information. I'm kind of snapping at the guy. Cause like, what the hell's wrong? Why did I think he saw the police officer? You could tell he was drinking too. So I think he got scared and he hit the brakes, like just some weird reaction. And I think my dog's freaking hair because I keep getting like my nose is itching, right? But anyway, so the like we're right there. And he looks kind of scared because my friend's all covered in tattoos. I have a shaved head. I think the guy's from like San Francisco or something. So I don't know what he was doing like in Southern California. And I'm like, just here. I was like, exchange just whatever, call the insurance. I don't care. But I was telling him, I'm like, you're stupid. Like I was so upset. Like, why did you hit the brakes? Like the light was green, you were going, and then you just slammed on the brakes. So I was really upset. So it felt very more like, oh man, something's like, and then so anyways, after that, we get in our cars, and it was a pretty long gas station because it had like, it was one of those with the built-in car washes, like the old one. So it was like a big old, it was kind of a real long park, like part, right? Right here is where the pumps are. Way over there was so there was a long stretch way. So we get in our cars and I go to turn on the key. And when I turn on the key, my car just goes and bam, it pushes him and it's dragging his car. And he's like, you know, like I guess he's hitting the brake, and I'm like, what the hell? My friend's looking at me like, what are you doing? And I was like, it's not me, it's the car. And then I don't know if I just throw it in park or what I do. And then the guy hops out of his car. He's like, what did I do? What did like he thought I was just mad. He's like, what did I do? What did I do? And I'm like, shut up, just get in your car and go. And he's okay, okay. I was like, just go. Cause I was like, I was like, you already got my information, just go. And he was like, okay, okay. And he just goes. And my friend's looking at me like he didn't believe me. He didn't believe me. He thought I was just road raging. Like I was just so upset. I slammed into this guy. And a month later, like on the freeway, it was really scary. It happened to me again. My thing, like something got stuck. So it was something in my, what is it, the carburetor or something? I forgot, but something got stuck in there. I took it to the mechanic, he cut it out or whatever. So I told my friend, like, you see it happen again on the freeway. And that was really scary because there was a lot of traffic and my car just, and I had to get off the freeway and it was just crazy. But anyways, so I called my friend right away. You see, I told you I wasn't making it up. It wasn't me. Like 'cause he thought I was just road raging, right? And I slammed on the gas and I was just like so upset at this guy. So, anyways, that time we got lucky, right? With all that commotion, the police officer never came. I made it home. After that, that was the official, like that was the end of my drinking, right? Because it was like, okay, I had stopped drinking, I backslid, right? When I had done it, when my third DUI, I backslid after 3 years, and boom, I got my third DUI. Now here we are again. I was good for maybe a good 2 years or something. I go out to support my friend. I was like, well, I'm never gonna get this opportunity again. I drink, and then boom, everything could have gone wrong, right? When I got my third DUI, like a month or two after, is when they passed the law that now the third DUI was a felony. So I got lucky. It was never a felony because I got the third DUI like just 2 months before they passed that new law that here in California was a felony. So I didn't have a felony, so I was good. And then it was all that, right? So, but this is why it's important to the spiritual thing. I know that was super long. If you guys stuck around with me, thank you. So because going forward, right? Like I said, I have over 8 years that I haven't drank. Um, telling the spiritual story, I think people always look, oh, well, what were you doing, right? Because that's what a lot of friends would tell me, especially religious friends, right? When I would say, oh, I went to my native ceremonies or this and that and that and this, they would be like, oh, did you do peyote? Did you do this? Did you do that? And be like, no, 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 right? So everything that began happening to me spiritually and always really had was I was sober, right? But it's important going forward because I think I mentioned it in other videos I've made where I had friends that, I mean, they were like on methamphetamine and they would tell me things and I knew they were saying the truth, but it was like, who's going to believe them ever? Like, because I know I've experienced like what they're saying, but they were just so far gone. No one was ever going to believe them. So that's where your credibility comes into play. And I know that all that was written into my thing because that's how hard headed I was. Well, it's habits, right? We get into the habit of drinking, right? I had been drinking since I was fairly young. I was more of a social drinker. I never got to that point. Oh, let me sit at home and drink a tall can or nothing. That was never me. So I didn't see it as a problem, right? It was never a problem. But when I would go out as a social drinker, I would not have a limit. I drink to the point of, blacking out, don't remember how I got home, all that kind of stuff, right? So it was always a dangerous thing for me. But then even going forward for your credibility with the spiritual walk, right? Like no one could ever question and that's funny. I looked at the clock and it says 111. So I don't know if that ties into this, right? And I know the clock is wrong too. So just it's funny that I happen to look at it. It says 111 right now. So, anyways, that was my whole course correction, right? That one was very over the course of many years, right? That was one of my things. And it doesn't feel like there's anything I can do wrong without the drink, right? Like so I feel very on a good path, right? Like very zen, right? Very zened out. Without the drink, there's just no, some of the people that I cut out of my life had to do with drinking, right? And it's so if anyone watches this and they think I'm talking about them, maybe, but I'm talking about a few people. It's not just one person. So I'm not saying it. It's just a coincidence that it happened with a variety of people. It was when they were on that drink and then they crossed, they came at me a certain way that wasn't cool. And so why I don't drink, so I know it's gonna happen again. If I'm around these people, they're gonna get drunk. They're gonna cross a boundary that they shouldn't cross. So that's one of the reasons I've had to distance myself from certain people, because it's not gonna change as long as that pattern is still there for them, and I'm not vibing with that anymore. It's not gonna change. I'm not gonna go, it's not like, oh, there's water infested with piranhas and think, oh wow, somehow I'm gonna go in there and everything's gonna be fine. They're still in there. I know that lake is filled with that, and if I jump in there and I get bit, like, it's my fault, right? I'm the stupid one, right? Like, I'm the dumb one. I can't even be mad at them because that's their vibe. That's their thing. So if they're happy doing that, it's just that, are you willing to walk alone? Are you willing to walk alone to do what's necessary, right? And for me, I think the mission objective on the spiritual walk is that important, that I'm like, all right, I'm willing to do it. Of course, it gets exhausting sometimes, and sometimes, of course, you go through all the human emotions when you're going through it. But I definitely saw the big plan in me becoming sober, going forward, right? So that's just a course correction story. I know it was kind of long. Hope it made sense, right? Um, I'm sure I could have explained it funnier, because it's actually funny to me, just all the things that happen with it, right? Especially that guy, right? When he was like jumping out, like, wait, what did I do? What did I do? And I was like, shut up. Just kidding. Because it was like, and my friends looking at me like I'm a maniac, right? And I was just like, I'm not doing it. Like, the car did it. Like, the car's going crazy. It turned into Carrie over here. I don't know what's going on. The car just went nuts. Or I don't know if that there was a movie where the car was the one killing people. I don't know if that was the one. You know, I don't know. I'm gonna look at a car kills people movie. Is it Carrie? Christine. Oh yeah, there was this movie called Christine. It says from 1983, and the car would kill people. So yeah, it would, like, my car just turned alive, right? Like that movie Christine, and then it wanted to kill people. So it wasn't my fault, right? But yeah, I felt like it was a very spiritual thing, like just telling me, hey, like, we gave you all these chances, right? I seen even some horrible like things that unfortunately, something like, I always try to warn people, like, hey, it's just not I don't know, it's just forget. I don't even want to talk, because it kind of makes me feel like that's why I always try to talk about it, because it's almost like a survivor's guilt, right? Like, you feel like, damn, something looked out for me, so it's my obligation to talk about it, so other people, don't make the same mistake, right? You don't want other people to go through that, just because you get, like I said, I would black out sometimes, by some miracle I didn't kill myself or someone else, right? Like, all that stuff. So I always try to. I was preachy about that at sometimes, right? About the not drinking thing, because even like if I would see my nephew or someone, be like, "Hey man, don't whatever you do, don't drink and drive." Or, oh yeah, and I think I got all my every DUI I got was before Uber too, right? So back then it was just, the cab was too much of a hassle, right? Um, so we, back then nobody was, oh well, okay, I got my last one right after Uber had came out, but it probably just wasn't popular yet, right? But it was like right after Uber came out, so I guess it wasn't a popular thing yet, right? But yeah, back then it was like nobody wanted to call cabs, this and that. So after that, going forward, I'm glad people have Uber to call Uber, and there's really no reason to not call Uber, right? If you're too wasted and all this and that. So okay, let me just pull some cards. I know I made that story super long. I don't even know if it made sense to anybody, right? But last time I didn't use this deck. So yeah, if you don't like this kind of stuff, you could just tune out. Last time I didn't use this deck, so I'll use it this time. It's called the Wisdom of the Elders, right? The Wisdom of the Elders Oracle. I had interviewed him too, Sean Leonard, the indigenous medium. So yeah, if you wanna stick around, cool. If not, all good. I was even thinking of starting to do lives, and then people could, if they have any questions they want me to do, like a reading or something, like a quick question, but we'll see. I see some people do it where, like, people do like the super chat thing, so I don't know. Maybe I could do like $1 reading or something like that. Oh, protection. Wow. Why this come out? Well, I won't take it personal then. Maybe it's not just for me, right? But I was talking about being protected anyways, right? In those situations, knowing. So the first one is totem animal, which is cool because I was talking about the totem animals and protection, right? You get all the bears. I love the bears, right? Because I don't know, you just feel protected with the bears. Star people. So I love, when Sean Leonard, I interviewed him. He pulled this card from, I guess, our interview, right? The star people. So it was fun. See, my head right now did the little tingly thing. So I don't know if they're present in this situation right now. So I feel like they are, right? They're right here with the universal knowledge, right? So yeah, that makes me feel better about the the thing, right? About this thing. Yeah, see, my head's doing the little tingly thing, like, and then the other one was air, breath, and mindfulness, which is cool. I told you guys I do yoga now, so breath and mindfulness, I like that. Yeah, so I don't know if I should pull from any other one. Let me see. I'll just do the spirit animal ones, because you know I like the spirit animals, and that's it, and we'll end it. So this is kind of like I guess for the week. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I saw it. So I don't know if people need to be tapping into protection. You know what I mean? I guess I'll do it too. Fine. you know, I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's still kind of like the cycle's closing with the whole Lionsgate thing, right? Maybe there's still energies that you need to let go of. So maybe that's kind of a warning for like just all right, we're still in Mercury retrograde, right? So I know things come up from the past and all this stuff. So maybe it's just protecting your energy to don't let in anything that you don't let anything in that you don't need to let in, right? I know a lot of people were getting sick too. It was pretty interesting, right? All kinds of people have been getting sick, so it really feels like a purging time, right? So let me. I was just trying to shuffle them real quick, but oh wow, that one just flew out. Oh, hold on. Well, this is the only one that flew out, so I'll just the stag spirit take the lead. I don't know, so that one's pretty cool. Stag spirit. There was one on the bottom of the deck. Oh, koala spirit. Spirit has a plan. I like that. Let me read the stag real quick, just to see what they say. Obviously, I like that's my basically like a totem for me, the deer, right? Stag, deer. So, but I'll read what the maker of these cards put. Number 58. That's the card 58. The koala was 35. Let me see. Super long video, huh? I don't know. That's all right. Okay. Stag spirit, take the lead. Whether or not you have set your intention to lead, you may have found yourself suddenly called to step up to the forefront of your life. Stag Spirit is a reminder that now is a time to heed the call to be sure, strong, and compassionate. Others will look to you, and you have it within you to see through the eyes of Stag Spirit and walk with confidence as you take on the responsibilities that are yours now and model integrity in all that you do and in all your relationships. Be willing to see the best in others so that your compassionate heart keeps you on the right path. Stag Spirit wants you to know that your responsibilities now are to yourself too. For you are learning and developing new skills. The best in you is coming into view as you step forward with strength, knowing that Spirit supports you as you compassionately take the lead. You are a model for transformation now, sharing your experience, strength, and hope with others so they may grow and discover their best selves too. What a gift you are. Stay humble and authentic and walk your talk, for this is how a wise leader leads. Wow, that's so funny. Obviously, I related with it because I just shared that whole story, right? So that's pretty cool. Protection message. Oh, wow. So now this one, the protection comes as well. Others may not be as far along as you are on your journey. When stag spirit appears in the protection position, you are called to be compassionate and patient as you find yourself leading the way. When others struggle to follow you, they may be unsure that you can be trusted, challenging you to be kind and strong, challenging your value and questioning your worth. Know that Spirit has put you in this place at this time for a purpose and will not abandon you when you need help with your new responsibilities. Or perhaps you are actually uncomfortable leading, maybe temporarily trapped by your small self, and are therefore promoting yourself too strongly, afraid that others might see weakness or imperfection in you. Let go of your fears and let Stag Spirit remind you that you have what it takes to lead wisely and ethically if you practice self honesty and listen to others who wish to support you. Wow. So I don't know. I don't know. I won't let my ego talk and say, wow, I didn't really, but hey, that's the message, right? So if anyone relates to that, maybe if you're stepping into a leadership role, that's what it is. Let me look real quick for koala spirit. Koala spirit, koala spirit. Because I've never seen the koala one, so I don't know about that. Spirit has a plan. Oracle message. In nature, the koala moves slowly through the branches of the eucalyptus tree, leisurely chewing the leaves, reminding us that life is not a race or competition. Chasing around after every distraction can keep us from recognizing that we have all we need and that spirit will always be there with gifts to sustain us. You are being asked to trust that by moving slowly with faith in the abundance that is everywhere, sur- surrendering to a power greater than yourself, you will be able to experience the manifestation of your desire. As you take your time enjoying the riches available to you right now, sitting peacefully, you begin to radiate the joy and abundance you seek. Spirit is here to help you discover happiness, pleasure, and contentment. All gifts that are you all gifts that are yours now and in the future. Have faith and trust in Spirit's plan for you and know that you are loved and cherished. Okay, well, I'll just read it because I came this far because I'm like, man, this is long, but let me read the protection message and then I'll end it. Protection message. Are you feeling uneasy and mistrustful of the world? Have you been? Oh, okay. I think one represents like almost like in the tarot when one's facing right and then the other one is like, backwards, right? So that's what I think it is. One is like the uppity up and then protection. Okay, so but oh, okay. But they both came up upright, so I don't know. But I'll just read it anyway. So I think the protection message is like if it came backwards and you want to read it backwards. Are you feeling uneasy and mistrustful of the world? Have you been hiding in a safe spot, afraid to venture out because you're convinced that life and other people will disappoint you? Koala Spirit has appeared to let you know that your faith is misplaced. The present safety you seek is already passing away because all things are temporary and outer conditions are always changing. Find your safety by placing your faith and trust in Spirit, who will grow the abundance that is already yours. Perhaps you are acting slowly and overly cautiously because you lack faith that there is more for you out there than you know. You may have boxed yourself into a safe place that has nothing else to give you and become so familiar with it that you have forgotten to explore. Are you feeling pessimistic and convinced there is nothing more out there for you? Koala Spirit reminds you that self care is meant to replenish you so that you can venture out again in faith, trusting that there is no limit to the joy Spirit wants you to experience. Be good to yourself and reconnect with Spirit to reclaim your faith in things yet unseen. Okay, so yeah, so that other the protection message is about if you're relating to it in another way, right? So that's why with the stag one, I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't relate to that, but the message is obviously it was a collective message, so I didn't need to relate to any of them really, but I did relate to the positive stags thing, right? So I liked it. So, anyways, on that note, I'll end it there, and I like it's a beautiful thing, right? I like it. So, anyways, I'll end it with that, right? So I hope you guys are all well. Hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, put a like, right? And comment. Obviously it helps the algorithm. So going forward, because I always see people say that like 100 times, and I'm like, I gotta get in the habit of saying that, reminding people to hit the thumbs up and to comment to help the algorithm. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.